against Tegan Cavan today.
Your four-time SEC Head Coach of the Year, Karen Weekly. Over 1,100 victories with the Lady Vols in Knoxville. Of course, over 1,300 victories overall in her storied career, including 20 straight NCAA tournaments. They have hosted a regional the last 19 years. Kinsey Fiedler, the first to get things started on this Sunday afternoon in Austin. Dream conditions for some softball out here on the diamond. Fiedler 1 for 4 with a run scored so far this weekend in this matchup of the two UTs.
Fiedler was in the two-hole yesterday, had Savia Morgan leading off. As a two-hole, she drew that walk to be on ahead of McKenna Gibson, who hit the two-run homer off Mac Morgan. Coach Karen Weekly talking about drawing the walk and then being able to execute after it was the key.
And on Friday against Cavan, we saw Fiedler draw one of the 5 walks that were allowed by Cavan, who was able to strand all 5 of those base runners back on Friday. She had gone better than 16 innings without walking a batter before allowing those 5 free passes in the opener.
You can tell Cavan trying to figure out exactly where the corners are right now. Her rise ball can tilt both ways as well, so you'll see it take a little bit of a curve, sometimes a little bit of a screw like that last pitch.
5-pitch walk to Fiedler. As Tennessee will try to set the tone for the second straight day. Our home plate umpire is Chris Neighbors. Alex Leap and Cameron Ellison round out our umpiring crew out in the field. And it is looking like it's going to be another capacity crowd to take in some top 5 softball with an SEC victory on the line. And again, we mentioned she had had a drought of avoiding walks for better than 16 innings. And on Friday, 5 free passes that did not come back to bite the Longhorn pitcher. This is Taylor Panel. First team all-conference last year. An outfielder a year ago. This year, you're starting third baseman every day for Tennessee. Injury cut her freshman campaign short. And that one hit her. So shades of what we saw back on Friday. First 2 batters able to threaten here for Tennessee, and of course, what Texas wants to avoid is a repeat of yesterday when Boo Gibson in the first inning went yard for a 2-run blast.
And it was similar. Mac Morgan was being squeezed, having to figure out exactly where the strike zone was. Elevates a drop ball, and McKenna Gibson was ready for it. So Tegan Cavan has to be careful, even behind in the count. Gibson's going to have the green light.
See those 4 home runs among her last 5 hits as she squares around here. She had a home run in each of the Mississippi State games last weekend. Did not go yard on Friday, but conquered that left field wall yesterday. She has incredible numbers, even considering the fact that she missed the first 2 weeks coming back from injury this year. Pops this one up. And fortunate to avoid an infield fly rule. Bases loaded. Everything going the way of the Lady Vols here early on.
Well, they get exactly what they want from this is a pop-up on the bunt, but Jolie Mitchell, seeing the bunt moves over to first base, doesn't even come for the ball. That's a bunt single for Gibson. That's Texas defense being out of sorts there. But that's exactly what you want. Rise ball pitcher, bunt situation, you want it in the air, but it has to be communicated who's going to have the ball on that side. That was an easy out, unfortunately. Texas botched. And on top of it, no one called it to try to throw to third because Fiedler had to stay close to the bag with how high that pop-up was because it looked like an easy out.
So a walk to Fiedler. She's on third now. The hit batter Panels on second. That is scored a single for Boo Gibson. And your cleanup hitter, Sophia Nugent, now with a chance to clean up.
Tegan Cavan, a pitcher with so much movement that a lot of times you get offenses to chase early, and that allows her to get in the zone. Tennessee doing opposite. They're not chasing early. They're forcing her to throw strikes before they're going to be overly aggressive, especially having watched how many she walked on Friday night.
Nugent 0 for 6 against Texas pitching here this weekend. A great opportunity to break through with bases loaded and nobody out. Looking to take a second straight game at the expense of number 1 Texas.
You know, it's the announcer's jinx. As soon as I say they're not going to chase, they chase a rise ball way out of the zone.
We'll pass Kat's email along at the end of the broadcast. Bases loaded, nobody out. Just missed the black frame of the plate.
These pitches by Tegan Cavan, they look good. If they're missing, it is not by much.
The 2-2 from Cavan. Of course, Nugent, a 2-time national champion from her time in Norman. Now in her final year with Tennessee.
Nugent, one of the first big pieces that ever really left Norman.
Again, nobody out with bases loaded. This stays playable in foul territory, and the two Longhorns combine. And they're going to say that properly tagging up from third was Kenzie Fiedler. She got down the line in a hurry. They appeal to third and say that no, she did not leave early, and Tennessee scores first. Wow. What an inning for the Lady Vols.
Well, right now, Texas not communicating well and not keeping their head in the game. Reese Atwood and Julie Mitchell collide on this one. And you saw after the play, Reese Atwood said, "I can't hear you. It's loud." Julie Mitchell has to be louder, but Tegan Cavan can't watch that happen. She has to cover the plate the second that Reese Atwood vacates. Tennessee being heads up, taking advantage. Again, an early lead for the Vols.
So an RBI foul out. At most 20 feet from home plate. Off the bat of Nugent gives Tennessee for a second straight day the lead in the first inning. No traditional threat of a double play ball here with one out as first base unoccupied. Or Mueller at the plate. Mueller, the Tennessee native who started her career as a Blue Raider over at Middle Tennessee. Last year, 8 home runs in her first year in Knoxville, 5 home runs already this year. And a big cut there, the count 2-2. So one free pass has already come back to bite Texas. The hit batter panel is over on third. Gibson, who had that botched bunt, but managed to single out of it in scoring position as well on your screen.
This is where you can see pressure coming in at Texas. They haven't been in a ton of real pressure situations, especially here at home. And defensively here in the top of the first, just haven't been able to respond.
First strikeout of the day for Tegan Cavan, 2 outs.
Laura Mueller expecting something up, and Tegan Cavan uses that changeup right through the heart of the zone. First off-speed pitch we've seen her offer, and none bigger than for the strikeout looking.
All right, one of the Texas twins. This is Gabby Leach. They're out of the Woodlands, of course. 2 of the 4 Leach sisters who have come through this program over the years. Preceded by Aubrey and Kelsey.
And Aubrey Leach still on staff for Tennessee. She's the director of player development. Gabby and her twin, Alana Leach, on the roster now.
6th batter of the inning for Tennessee. They've already scored 1 on an RBI foul out. Panel on third, Gibson on second with 2 away. Tegan Cavan Could be one strike away from getting Texas back into the dugout to grab their bats for the first time, trailing by just one.
You see, when that ball is tight and in, Kavon getting a lot of swing and misses right now. It's on the outer half that Tennessee's really having to make her work a lot harder.
That's Kavon with a K, her second. Lady Vols strike first. A rubber match on this Sunday afternoon. Texas grabs their bats for the first time. Maloney, Henry, and Scott.
Virtually untouchable yesterday. Texas just scattering 4 hits against the junior.
Kept a potent Texas lineup at bay yesterday. It is a lineup in which the first 5 hitters all batting better than 400 for Coach Mike White in his 7th year at the helm. As Ashton Maloney leading off, but Mia Scott, you see the series she has had so far, batting 600 over the first 2 days. Maloney, the junior, leading things off, hitting .459 on the year. And a foul out of play. Maloney 1 for 6 this weekend, with a run scored.
First hit by pitch ever of her career as well.
That's right. Shot at the middle. Second hit of the weekend. Tying run is on for number 1 Texas.
Such a key at bat for Ashton Maloney. She struggled against Pickens yesterday, but a ball up in the zone stays on top of that in order to drive it to center field. Yesterday, those were foul balls and pop-ups. Ashton Maloney making the adjustment, able to get herself on base hit, put Texas in good position here to respond.
She has 9 stolen bases on the year, not running there. And Sophia Nugent completes the battery with Carlin Pickens. First pitch in there for a strike. Henry among the preseason All-Americans for Texas coming into this year, coming off a brilliant freshman campaign. Continues to be working on her short game. Mike White says nobody gives him more grief than the talented 2-hole hitter for Texas.
Link and I got to call Wednesday's game against Texas State, and we interviewed Caden Henry Tuesday morning, and she was actually talking to us about how they have adopted the moniker of Pawpaw White this year for Coach White. And as she was explaining it to us, Coach White popped on for his time to talk to us, and all he did was laugh at how she was explaining that Coach White is now kind of Grandpa/Pawpaw White. And promptly asked, so what do you want, Caden? Because she was talking so much about him.
His ears were burning. Count has gone full. Leadoff single from Ashton Maloney. Caden Henry trying to give Texas their second base runner here early on against your reigning pitcher of the year in the SEC. But Pickens prevails. Her first punch out, 1 away.
Henry just not on plane against Pickens. Both swing and misses well over a drop ball pitcher. And even though that is somewhat pitch, big first out for Pickens without allowing Maloney to advance.
Well, it was Mia Scott on Friday with some heads-up base running who really helped apply pressure on the infield and the defense of Tennessee. Turned an RBI base hit all of a sudden into a couple of runs for the Longhorns. She's on that back edge of the batter's box as that last pitch a strike to even up the count.
You can tell by the look on Mia Scott's face there, she didn't necessarily agree with that call.
Big cut as she falls behind 1-2. Again, a leadoff single from Ashton Maloney up the middle. Since then, a strikeout. Now your 3-hole hitter, Scott, trying to move the potential tying run around.
It looks like Pickens using her fastball more today than she did on Saturday, excuse me. A lot of drop balls on Saturday that Texas eventually laid off later in the game, got deeper in the counts against Pickens. Pickens just throwing straight gas right now. That fastball freezing Texas just a little bit.
Mia's the only batter for either team with 3 hits over the first 2 days here in Austin. But unable to get a piece of that one. Back-to-back strikeouts, a response from Pickens after the leadoff single.
Well, this a rise ball here you see go up in the zone, and Mia Scott again, another Texas hitter, just nowhere close to being able to get the barrel to that ball. Mia Scott was on the plate a little bit more than normal as well, so have to wonder if she was trying to cover the outer half and she just got fooled there. Didn't mean to swing because that was not going to be a called strike.
Of course, in recent years, Tennessee's had names like Rogers and Gottschall in the circle. Now the baton passed to Carlin. Well, if you're a Texas fan and you want an RBI, perhaps no better source historically for this program than Reese Atwood. Midway through her junior year, already tops the career charts as your RBI queen. Right on cue. This one off the wall. Ashton Maloney from first will come all the way home. It's as if it's scripted for Reese Atwood.
If you're a Texas fan, you never count Reese Atwood out. She may have a game or two where she struggles, and yesterday didn't barrel up Carlin Pickens at all. But making the adjustment here, and you see Carlin Pickens trying to go outside. That is plated. Reese Atwood stays on top of that after being a strikeout victim of rise balls yesterday. Drives that just off the wall. Thought that might clear it, but midway off the wall, and that bounce off that left field wall actually favored Texas, allowed Ashton Maloney to score because it got too far away from Morgan.
Jolie Mitchell, 1 pitch later, joins Atwood on the base paths with 2 outs.
Well, believe it or not, Lincoln, we said Ashton Maloney got hit by a pitch for the first time in her career yesterday, or in this series. That there is Jolie Mitchell's only second hit by a pitch in her career, and the first was on Wednesday. So this week is a lot of firsts for Texas in the hit by pitch category.
And this is a good sign for Texas fans, as that other shade of orange having to gather in the circle as the early lead for Tennessee has been erased.
You see, pitching coach Megan Rhodes-Smith heading out, have a conversation with Pickens.
Of course, Rhodes-Smith pitched for Tennessee, led them 3 times to Oklahoma City.
Coach Karen Weekly talks so high about Megan Rhodes-Smith, and she believes she's one of the best young pitching coaches in the country. I believe she's often overlooked just because her pitchers never look the same. There is not a Megan Rhodes-Smith type of pitcher. She meets them all where they are when they come to campus and tries to increase their productivity.
Tennessee gets out of the innings training 2 base runners, but not before Reese Atwood ties this one up in the home half of the first, bringing Ashton Maloney home. It's a brand new ball game heading into inning number 2. It was a short-lived advantage. On to the bottom third of the order. First pitch to Amaya Doyle, sky high into the Texas sun. And Longhorns able to avoid a collision that time as Leanne Good squeezes it in.
Well, and the key there was Leanne Good knew she could get to it right off the bat. So not only was she calling it, but she was waving her hands so that way Katie Bennett knew not to come in her direction, and Caden Henry can see that she's camped under it. But it's a day you have to have the visors and the sunglasses to combat the sun.
Freshman Ella Dodge for the first time today out of the 8-hole, seeing Tegan Gavant. Dodge was 0 for 3 against the Texas ace back on Friday. Ella 1 for 6 overall this weekend, the Florida native in her redshirt freshman campaign. She's ahead in the count, 2-0. As Kavan able to paint the edge for the first strike. You'll see those letters of KTP and PTK on the gear of these Tennessee players. Keep throwing punches and punch to kill. The mottos for the team. Basically just keep fighting till your final out.
To be honest, Lincoln, in the SEC, that's a mindset you have to have because there's no game where you throw the first punch and it's the knockout punch.
Both teams have landed jabs as of that first inning.
Well, and let's talk about Tennessee last weekend. 3 games that were all run rules.
All run rules, yep.
2 in Tennessee's favor, 1 in Mississippi State's favor. So even if you threw a big punch on Friday, you got the big punch back on Saturday.
So on out to Caden Henry. 2 away. As the 8-hole hitter worked the count full, but retired. 2 up, 2 down. Yeah, got to be a goldfish in the SEC.
You really do, because day in and day out, what you face is different. And everybody has a good, solid number 2 arm, so there's not a mid game that you can take off and relax at all.
Here's Savia Morgan. She looks out at the Texas defense, where now the left fielder is between the shortstop and right fielder. That's your center fielder and left, your right fielder and center. If you've been paying attention this weekend, this is nothing new to you.
Yeah, it's not new, and if you paid attention yesterday, Caden Henry got a F7 to 3 double play, but Caden Henry's the center fielder, so do you write 7 or 8? But Katie Stewart, who also normally is an infield, is able to come in and plug up that left side, not allow Morgan to have as much space to work with as a slapper.
I will be very impressed if Caden Henry can turn 2 this inning. As right now, nobody on with 2 outs for the 9-hole hitter Morgan. 2-1.
That's your one for this game that you get me.
I'll try to overachieve. Three balls, 1 strike. Savia Morgan, she can get a free pass. She doesn't care about the shift. So it'll give Tennessee a chance to bring the top of their order back around as Kinsey Fiedler walked and scored last inning. This one shot over to Bennett. After Texas ties this one up in the bottom of the first, bottom third of the order of Tennessee goes in order against Tegan Cavan. On to the home half of the second.
Don't ever take for granted the staff behind her with Mac Morgan, Citlali Gutierrez, freshman Cambria Salmon.
7-hole hitter Katie Simmons drove in the 1 run for Texas off of Pickens yesterday in the 4th inning. At the time to make it 2-1. This one fouling out of play. No easy outs in this lineup for the Longhorns.
Simmons, the senior, was day-to-day after last weekend's series. She absolutely got plowed over in that last game in Missouri.
Yeah. Went around on the appeal. Pretty clear on first look. That pitch inside, but could not.
Inside, my question is why were we swinging at all? Because it was tailing in the whole way. There wasn't a point where that really looked like a strike, but Katie Simmons definitely barrel goes across the plate.
3rd strikeout for Pickens. Here's Leanne Good. Over left side, Mueller at short. Routine. So 7, 8, 9 hitters for Tennessee went in order against Cavan. Pickens trying to mow through the bottom third of the Longhorn lineup. Gives way for the first time today to Katie Bennett.
All right, now Pickens has just needed 4 pitches to record 2 outs against the Longhorns.
Bennett 0 for 4 this weekend. When you're batting 9th and you're going up against a pitcher like Carlin Pickens, you're not guaranteed to get to swing a bat for a 3rd time.
You are not. Carlin Pickens can make quick work and easy work sometimes of offensive lineups. Texas having gone 6 in the first, though, might give Katie Bennett a better chance at seeing Carlin Pickens 2 more times today.
Started her career over at Abilene Christian in the WAC before making her way to Texas. Bennett's been doing her job overall this year, getting on base, turning this lineup over for the Longhorns. And works her way ahead in the count, 2-1 against Carlin Pickens.
Well, Bennett, as an 8th grader, actually committed to Oklahoma State University. Had some personal issues throughout her time from 8th grade until it was time to report to college, and ended up a much different path.
Taylor Panel across the diamond. 7-8-9 go in order. Pickens finds her third strikeout. We've got a fun one brewing here on this Sunday afternoon in Austin. Level at 1.